Today in the gospel reading, Peter is called to task with 3 challenges. The first challenge is to allow Jesus into his boat. The second, to listen to Jesus, who in his humanity has probably never caught a fish or went fishing before because he's a son of a carpenter. And finally, to accept the invitation from Jesus. And notice what happened when Peter fulfilled these challenges. When Peter fulfilled them, he became something different. He no longer is a fisherman, but a fisherman. As an invitation, is a great reminder that when we allow Jesus into our lives, he does amazing things in us. The challenges that Peter faced today, in the gospel reading, we face in our humanity every day. First, to allow Jesus. Jesus is always knocking at the door of our heart. But notice that Jesus always knocks, but he waits for that invitation. He waits for us to allow him to come into our hearts. He doesn't force himself into our hearts. He waits for us. Just as Peter allowed Jesus to be on his boat, Jesus invites us. He knocks and he waits. He waits until we allow him into our hearts to listen to Jesus. Notice here Peter is saying, we've been fishing all night. We have caught nothing. But notice what happened when he listened to Jesus. Peter is a professional fisherman. Jesus in his humanity is not. But notice what happened when he listened to Jesus. How often in our own hearts we think we know better than God in our intellect. We have all these degrees, or we have all these experiences. And how often do God invite us and challenges us to listen? And we said, no, Lord, I know what's good for me right now, at this very moment, at this very juncture. And really what God is inviting us to do is to listen, to send our intellect and our will to the truth in God. That's all he's asking for. And see what happens that Peter listened to Jesus and he caught 2 boats full of fish. Imagine we listen to God and what he can do in our life, what we can do as his disciple. And lastly, to accept the invitation. To accept the invitation. Even Peter realized his frailty. He's a sinner. But knows that he didn't allow his sinful past to keep him down. He could have just said, Lord, I'm a sinful man. The invitation is great. Thank you for looking out for me. But no, thank you. Jesus knows we're sinners. But yet he invites us every day. He invites us and he asks us to accept that invitation. Because when we accept that invitation, we acknowledge just one thing, that God is merciful, that he's loving, that he's always reaching out to us. He's reaching out so that we can recognize within ourselves our relationship with him, our friendship with Jesus. That is so important. So today, it's in the gospel reading, let's ask God for that grace to accept these challenges in our own lives. To accept these challenges, that way God can change us. God can transform us. When we allow God into our heart, when we listen to God, and when we accept that invitation from God, through his grace, we can do amazing things. We can set this world on fire with the love of God if we allow Jesus and fulfill these challenges. Let's ask God for that grace. And when we live out that grace and we live out these challenges, then we can receive the reward of the next life.